Okay, so let's start with that very quick introduction because I should say hello to you again because we said that before the recording, but now hello, Andy.
Hello.
Uri, welcome
Ciao
to
Andy, ciao Marcel.
another show, another chat with experts from testing. Let me start. Yes.
I love this
So
feature.
this should be how to do that.
The
I
heart shape.
I don't have the right
Ooh.
shape. I don't have
You
the right.
use your whole hand, not just your fingers.
Marcel, you have
Anyway,
cheaper MacBook.
Maybe I'll
yeah,
just
it's
balloons.
good to be here, y'all. Thank you for inviting me. We're having so much fun already.
I don't have
Uh,
MacBook,
Yeah.
sorry.
uh,
Okay, so let's really start. Introduction. We would like to not only welcome but also introduce Andy on this show. So, Andy, I'll try to introduce you, and then you hopefully you will fix that.
sure.
So, you are a star on the testing conferences. So you are a very famous speaker, expert on testing. You are also ex-Apply Tools and ex-IBM employee.
Yep.
You
hmm
and also some other brands I
Yeah.
didn't recognize, or maybe there are some others. Sorry for that, but I just picked these two. You are close to UI test automation, or you did in past a lot of UI testing. And if I understood it properly from LinkedIn, you did some performance testing as well.
Yeah, you could say.
Okay,
It's there, it's
so
there.
you will have a
It's
chance.
there. It's there. It's there. It's there.
Yeah, yeah. And you are also Playwright ambassador,
Correct.
very freshly, if I understood it or not. It's a couple of
Well, 2
weeks or
years.
2 years already.
Yeah, yeah. I was the
Oh,
first Playwright ambassador.
okay. But I noticed that you've become active when they give you give you the hoodie. Before that,
Yeah, that's right.
before that, I didn't notice. So I don't know.
Oh,
That
okay.
maybe that's my fault. I didn't notice it
It's fine.
before. And now you recently joined Cycle Labs. Cycle
Mm-hmm.
Labs.
Mm-hmm.
That's your new company or the company. Yeah.
Ah, you are ready. Nice.
So, and I was trying to understand what they are doing because it sounds like another CI/CD server, but it's not that case. So that company is in test automation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you could tell us more about
Sure.
that soon. Just wait, I will
Definitely.
finish.
Good.
I'll finish the introduction. You are a big fan of Japanese art,
Mm-hmm.
old Volkswagens, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and you love your dog, as I
Mm-hmm.
learned last week, not last week, 2 weeks ago in Berlin.
Mm.
Yep.
And I was surprised that I find that you are also a big fan of bubble tea.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You will explain that soon. So that's it on my list. So maybe let's start first. Fix the biggest
Me.
failures in my introduction.
No
What
problem.
what's
You
there?
you you
What's missing there, and what was completely wrong?
sure, sure. No, you're mostly right. You got a pretty good picture, but the most important thing you missed, Marcel, is my title. I'm the Automation Panda.
Oh,
Oh, it's so
yeah,
obvious now. I know everybody just presumes. It's okay.
yeah, yeah.
It's okay.
Automation Panda. Yeah.
No, I mean you got it pretty good there. Like I've been in the software industry for almost a decade and a half, primarily within the space of testing and automation. I've done all kinds of testing at different kinds of companies, API, UI, um, mainframe, even operating system level, right? I've worked at IBM, NetApp, LexisNexis, Precision Lender. Right now I'm at Cycle Labs and Apple Tools, of course. That was the most recent previous company. I've always viewed myself first and foremost as a software engineer, and I've applied my skills in the domain of testing problems. I like to think that I build solutions to testing problems. And so for about a decade, I was your rank and file software engineer in test, or SDET. When I
Mhm.
was at Apple Tools, I did developer relations because Apple Tools is a testing platform. It's an AI-based testing platform for visual testing and self-healing and all those kinds of features. At Apple Tools, I was also director of Test Automation University, which is one of the best platforms for learning about testing and automation online. They have video-based courses from some of the world's best instructors, and it's all available for free. I'm proud to say that even before I joined Apple Tools, I developed like half of their Python learning path, which is pretty cool. I'm also proud to say I made the Web Element Locators course on TAU, which is one of the most popular courses. Right now, yeah, nice. So if you want to learn about testing automation, definitely check out TAU. I always plug it, always have. Right now, as you said, I am at Cycle Labs. It's actually a test automation company headquartered in my hometown, Raleigh, North Carolina, in the United States. And I am the principal architect at Cycle Labs. We're small. I think we're just shy of about 50 people. It's not a big company. But what Cycle Labs does is they build a test automation platform that targets enterprise, supply chain, and warehouse management systems. So things like Blue Yonder, or what used to be JDA, Red Prairie, all that kind of stuff. It's a new space to me. I haven't been in warehouse management before, but the basic premise is, let's say you're a candy bar company. How do you make sure that you get your chocolate bars from the factory to your warehouse, stored in inventory, on pallets, on shipping, receivable, picking, all these kinds of things, and then out to the store shelves? How do you manage all that? And so all these enterprise level companies that, you know, sell candy bars, or like Amazon or Walmart or whatever they're doing, right? They have inventory. They need to store it a big place. And to manage that, most people aren't building their own warehouse management systems. They're using enterprise software to do that. And they go into these platforms. And these people, they're not software people. They're business people. They're coming in and building out processes on these platforms, whether it's desktop-based or web-based. There's APIs, there's databases, there's green screen terminals, there's scanners, there's mobile apps. And they're not built. Sorry,
what are you doing? What are you doing there as an architect?
So what I'm doing is I'm helping to build the platform to test all those things together. So making sure that, you know, if they're uploading something with the scanner, putting it on a pallet, and then it goes into their web app system and their database, all that needs to jive together. And so Cycle Labs provides the platform for testing all of that end to end. And so the tool itself is, to make things simple, we have a language called CycleScript. Imagine like gherkin, cucumber, but we give you all the steps out of the box, right? So all of your web interactions, all of your API interactions, all of your terminal and desktop interactions, you would say things like, when I click this button, and you provide a CSS selector, right? So you don't have to, you know, program Selenium WebDriver yourself. We give you the step, and underneath the hood, we do that for you. And so my role is helping to build out this platform, right? It's been around for a long time. My main drive is, where does this thing need to go in the future, right? You know, so we're looking at expanding the platform, right? You know, like one project I'm working on is developing a new reporting dashboard that's web-based rather than popping out PDF reports or static HTML files, so that people can maintain a history of their results over time. Or another thing we're looking at is, how can we apply LLMs and generative AI to help with the building of test cases, and to make it, to provide that as a feature that is easy enough for less technical people to be able to test their business processes, right?
So you let the customers write the feature files, and you do the step definitions. Is it that type of approach?
The way you phrase it makes it sound more like a consulting kind of thing. Cycle Labs is much more of a product company. We're building the Cycle engine, which has all those step definitions in it. And so we also provide an IDE for them, where they can go in, they can write their feature files in CycleScript, get the autocomplete and all that. And then they click run, and then it runs through the Cycle engine, and then it poops out the reports.
And you are on the side of the building the tool, or deploying and helping people to use it?
So I'm on the side of building the tool. I am essentially a developer now, which is pretty cool. Hence the title principal architect. Most people, when they hear my title of architect, they think, oh, you're the QA architect. You're the one who's building the systems to test the things. Like, no. I'm building the product, I'm building the platform, which happens to be a test automation platform that people are buying as a service.
I see. Cool. So
Yeah,
let's move on a bit.
yeah, it looks that this introduction was very, very deep. But maybe I had like last question because we are also very often asking this question that what about your free time? That it looks that you're really busy because you are on all the conferences, you are you change the job. That do you have a time for
Yeah.
your hobbies or family or?
No. So, that's a wonderful question. I'm working on that. So, like, when I was at Applitools doing developer relations, that was a very intense role, right? I'm very thankful for the opportunity. There were lots of highs, but there were also some lows. And one of that was I was on the road a lot. I was speaking on average more than once a week at a conference or an event or a meetup or something, right? I think in 2022, I counted 65 unique speaking engagements. And I think 2023 is just about as many. And I realized like it was awesome, but it takes a toll on you. And so one of the reasons I left Applitools to go to Cycle. First of all, Cycle is awesome. I've known the guys and girls there for years, right? And it's local. And so it's like, oh, and it's test automation. And they had an opening for me. But one of the things that made me decide to make that change was that I realized how much of a toll the DevRel position was taking on me. And so I'm like, okay, let me, I don't need to be speaking at every single event. People have seen enough of my face. They've heard enough about Playwright and Gherkin and visual testing from me. Let me give some other people the spotlight. Let me take a step back. And so that's in taking my new role. I've still been active the second half of 2023. Like we just met up in Berlin for Automation Star, but I'm going to be intentionally downsizing. Right, I'm going to be taking fewer speaking engagements, or rather, I'm going to be more harshly prioritizing the ones I do speak at. Where like I'm going to prioritize events that are local to me in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. I'm not going to be submitting as many CFPs. And so I'm hoping that there's going to be less travel, right? I'm still going to be around. Like I'm not completely withdrawing. Like I'm intending to always go to Star East and Star West, which are here in the United States. I'm already on the schedule for Pi Texas because one of my best friends in tech leads that event. It's a wonderful event. I love going down there. And then virtual things like this, it's easy. I pop on for an hour, no big deal, right? So I'll continue to do these kinds of things. But yeah, I want to claim back more of my me time so I can be with my puppy and be with my family and work on my cars and enjoy my Japanese art. Like drink my bubble tea.
Yeah.
Nice.
We forgot one maybe important thing as a part of your introduction. Maybe not too many people know, but you speak German as well. Is it?
Not ein bisschen. Aber ja, ich kann Deutsch sprechen. I studied it in high school.
Yeah. So that being American speaking German, it's not very typical, I would say. So.
No. Most people in the United States, they're forced to take a second language in high school, and most of them take 2 years of Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Mexico is south of the border, so it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
In the Northeast, French is also very common because it's near Quebec, but otherwise, by and large, people take Spanish. So it's, yeah, I was the weird.
Okay, that was something we shouldn't miss in your intro, so I just need to bring it on the list as well.
Yeah, but it looks that you are ready for hot seat question. That maybe we can start with this. That I also asked the question, related to your free time, because there will be not only question regarding to your job, but we will start with some not technical, but C# or Kotlin.
C#.
Oh,
really?
Heck yes. 10 out of 10 every day.
Okay. Python or JavaScript?
Oh, hell yes, Python. Oh, there's no competition. Oh my God. Why would you even ask? Like most people don't know I have a .NET background, but I mean Python is most people usually know the Python one. But do continue.
Yeah, and now is the time. The old Volkswagen car or Suki?
Suki.
Really? Yeah, okay.
Oh gosh, it's a dog. It's a
Sorry.
living thing. Oh my gosh, I would give up the Volkswagens for Suki if I had to. Yeah.
Okay. And what is Devin?
What is what?
Devin. Maybe some
Devin?
help that Devin is in Slovakia. You visited. Do you remember Devin?
Is that the castle?
Yeah, yeah, it's castle. Yeah, the old
Okay,
castle.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's in Slovakia. Oh. I remember Philip and I visited a castle that started with the letter D. Maybe it's that one. Yes. Ah.
You go through your itinerary in Bratislava.
You know, we are Slovak.
Oh my.
So we couldn't.
Yeah.
know
Oh
those, so
gosh.
we need to ask.
Yeah,
good.
no. I gotta say, like my visit to Slovakia last year was absolutely wonderful. I loved the time in Bratislava with Philip.
Cool.
Yeah, next time we have to meet again as well because I'm living in Bratislava. That's
Oh, really? Oh my
yeah, we
gosh.
have to use
Okay,
this. Yeah. The next
definitely.
one. What is the best place you visited in Bratislava, Slovakia? Or overall in Slovakia? I don't know where you were.
Philip's house.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be the easy answer.
Ciao,
Other
Philip.
than Philip's house. Yeah, for those who don't know Philip, we're talking about Philip Pritz, very influential Cyprus ambassador, and also one of my other best friends in tech. We love you, Philip. I hope you're watching. Um, Gosh, I think like because we went all over Bratislava. We went to like the castle. We went to downtown. I think my favorite place, honestly, Philip took me to this very famous restaurant. It was probably kind of touristy, but we had a very traditional Slovak meal. We had like the cheesy. It's like the cheesy little macaroni and cheese thing that was very good.
Mm,
We had the beef tartare.
Yeah.
We had
Brinzové halušky was the first one.
Brinzo.
that thing, yes, it's very good. I'm like, oh my god, I could just keep eating this. We had like a garlic soup. Oh gosh, it was so
Mhm.
good. And we had Slovak beer. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Everything I had that day, I just taking pictures of it. Like, Philip, this is amazing. I need this in my life. That was probably my favorite spot. It's the thing that's
Nice.
like seared into my memory is like Slovak food, very good.
Very good. Okay, and what is your best conference in Europe?
Ooh, wow. I mean, to be fair, I've yeah, 10 out of 10.
No pressure. No pressure.
I know.
I haven't been to that
be
many
honest.
conferences in Europe.
Be honest.
So-
Be honest.
I would say like in terms of like an unconference, I think Fest was absolutely wonderful. I
Wow.
liked the small, intimate feel. I liked, not because the thing is these days a lot of conferences are just lecture after lecture after lecture after lecture, and it's lectures are good for inspiring people and sharing new ideas, but they're not good for like collaborating or fostering like directed discussion and stuff. And I felt like at Tesena Fest, when we had the round tables, that was very good time to sit and talk with other people at various levels of expertise to learn. So I thought that was very good. Another conference I would shout out is one of the ones I just went to, Agile Testing Days in Potsdam.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was an absolutely incredible conference.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best run large conferences I've ever been to anywhere. And if you haven't been, like it's literally 4 days. You enter the bubble of the hotel venue, and you're like in testing paradise. You don't even need to leave. They have events going from like 6 a.m. to like midnight every freaking day. And there's like keynotes and sessions and tutorials and break and activity and just repeat. And it's just like, wow. I mean, they're giving keynotes at like 8 p.m. at night. I'm like, holy crap, how can they do that? Well, they just keep you going throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
So
This is missing
Okay.
on my list. Hopefully next year.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like in all of my I'm cutting back on conferences. One of the ones I do want to go to next year
Uh-huh.
is Agile Testing Days in Potsdam. Like I want to go back to that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. No, not last one. We have still two, I guess. Yeah. What is your most favorite course on Test Automation University?
My favorite course on TAU,
Yeah.
I would say, is my PyTest course.
Mm.
I know
Wow.
it's biased because it's me, but
Yeah.
And second one?
right before,
Second one?
yeah. So it's the title of it is Introduction to PyTest, and most people know, like, I'm a very big Python guy. I love Python. Right before I left ApplyTools, I re-recorded the PyTest course because I had originally done it in like 2019, 2020, and my recording skills weren't as good back then. So I got the good camera, I got the good audio, and I added extra content to it. Like I added a chapter on Playwright and stuff.
Mm.
And so it looks fresh. It's really good. I like it. And then what I did is in each chapter, I not only have the screen recording, but I have the an intro and an outro of me on camera, like talking about it for a minute or two. And for every single one, I'm wearing a T-shirt from a different Python conference.
This is I saw this not full course, but this just reminds me that I saw some promotion about that, so I need to revisit that again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I'm very proud of all the 4 courses I've done and all the other courses that I helped produce for other instructors. I am most proud of my PyTest course. Like that is my little boom.
Yeah.
And then I also redid a lot of the learning paths. So I redid the Python learning path. So that's a lot tidier now, you know.
Cool.
This is the star life. Yeah. Okay. And the last one now is the last one.
Okay.
The best test automation tool for web applications.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So I don't work in DevRel anymore, so I can make hot, spicy takes. You know the answer I'm going to say is Playwright. But
Yeah.
they're
That
all
was
good
expected.
tools.
That was expected.
Yeah.
Because
They're all, well,
we would like to now
No, I
continue
mean,
from these short questions, but maybe they were not so short, into the topics of various areas of testing. And one is Playwright. You said you're ambassador. What does it mean? Why you decide to be an ambassador, or what are the benefits for you or for the Playwright? How it works? What you
sure,
share
sure.
something more?
So let's unpack that because there's multiple questions there. What does it mean to be a Playwright ambassador? The Playwright ambassadors are a right now small group of professionals within the software industry who champion Playwright publicly. So there's 10 of us right now, and most of us are in the category of like speaker or influencer or tech personality. We are people who have used Playwright and publicly advocate for its use. How I first came to Playwright was actually 2 years ago. And it was right as I had joined ApplyTools from my previous company. I had heard about this new Playwright tool all through like I think late 2020 and then through 2021, but I hadn't had a reason to test it yet or to try it yet because at my previous company, you know, we were doing C#, .NET, Selenium, SpecFlow stuff. It's like, oh, I've heard about Playwright, I've heard it's cool, but I don't have a chance to try it. As soon as I joined ApplyTools, it was November of 2021. The day before I joined, my boss-to-be, Angie Jones, says, hey, Andy, you know that TAU virtual conference we're having in about 2 weeks? Can you give a tutorial on Playwright as part of that, in addition to your other talk that you're doing? I'm like, what? I was like, okay, because I'm coming into my new company, and I'm like, well, I want to make a good impression. I want to show that I'm capable. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, okay. So I spend the first week or 2 on the job learning Playwright. And mind you, I had literally spent the previous 5 years at 2 different companies in the .NET stack doing Selenium-based test automation with SpecFlow, to the point where I had developed an open source project in .NET called Boa Constrictor, which was a screenplay implementation that had Selenium under the hood. And so I have this mountain of experience with Selenium. And I use Playwright literally for like a day or 2, and I'm using it in Python, not even like TypeScript or C# or anything. And I immediately fall in love with it because what I see is that Playwright is this modern, mature, feature-rich web testing framework. About 80 to 90% of the problems that I had tried to solve with my open source project Boa Constrictor were solved out of the box with Playwright. And I saw that instantly because I was like, whoa. I mean, some of the things that really caught.
Sorry for interrupting, but was that the case also 2 years ago? Was the Playwright so brilliant tool on that days? Because I remember that they were adding a lot of new features.
Yes.
At the beginning.
Yes. So yeah. So I came in when Playwright was starting to settle down. Like from 2 years ago when I first started learning it to today, there certainly have been some significant changes in Playwright, but at that time it had already gone through the most turbulent changes, I think, so that when I came to it, most of the patterns that I learned back then still apply today. Like they changed how they do locators a little bit, and they added new locator methods. And since that time, they've also added things like UI mode and code gen and all the really, really advanced things. But even at that time, the things that really stuck out to me: the automatic weighting, the lightning fast speed, the fact that it had multiple language bindings, unlike Cypress. And those three reasons alone for me were like that. Those hit so many of my pain points. The fact that the syntax I felt was very readable and composable. The way that they did assertions I found was really nice, because one of the things that frustrated me with Cypress when I was doing that is like, okay, you get chai assertions, that's cool, but like the assertions you basically pass in like string values, and I'm like, well, I don't know what these are, and I don't have a control space autocomplete, So I found myself fighting Cypress because I wasn't familiar with those conventions. But with Playwright I feel like follows more general dev conventions rather than front-end specific conventions. So it was very easy for me to be like page.locator boom .click. It's like, oh, I get this. Right? It was very easy to compose page objects, those kinds of things.
These basics are pretty like clear. What about some more advanced features? Because when you are using bindings, there might be still some new feature from that JavaScript or TypeScript implementation missing in Python or C#.
True.
You have some experience with that? Is it all okay, or you don't use any specials from that?
Well, what you said is correct. It seems like the way that new features rolled out, it's JavaScript first, then Python, then Java, then C#. Like I remember when they were adding the API testing support, right? It came first in JavaScript, and I'm like, where's it in Python? Come on, right? It eventually came. But I mean, to be honest, for most of the web-based test automation that I've done, Playwright as it stood 2 years ago was mostly good enough for my purposes, right? I very much believe in the mantra, simple is better than complex. And so if you start trying to do these kinds of tricky things, especially in the test automation system, it can come back to bite you later. So like I haven't felt like when I've used some of the other bindings, I've been limited. I mean, it is nice to have things like, UI mode, like sharding, like parallel execution out of the box. Like those are really, really nice things to have. And so, and also I would say, even as a Python guy, when most people are considering using Playwright, I encourage them to consider the original Node.js, JavaScript, TypeScript binding first, because they're going to get the most feature richness out of there. Usually when I would recommend people to use the different bindings for different languages would be, let's say they already have like a huge project in Java and all their test automation engineers already are very familiar with Java and they want to stay in the Java world. Okay, well, you can still do Playwright with Java, right? That's a natural transition, right?
But talking about these languages and bindings and all that world of different flavors, I heard a couple of times big discussions or argument that we should use the language developers use for test automation. How strict or how strict you think we should follow the rule? And because some people say, no, it's stupid. We need to have something quick and simple in automation to hack it quickly and develop test automation scripts much quicker than developers. They could use some lower level languages or something else, but we should have something more like BDD or keyword driven approach, or no other language than JavaScript on UI, web testing, and so on. So what's your opinion about that?
So maybe it's still the rule.
So I would say it really depends on your team and your organization and what you're trying to do, what your goals are with the test automation within that context. Because I can tell you from experience, if your test automation is in a different stack or a different language than what your developers are doing, there's an almost zero chance that they're going to contribute to it, right? If you do your testing in the same language as developers, or I would say as developers, if you do your test automation in the same language as the product being developed, then there's a greater than zero chance that developers can contribute to your test automation, but it's not a guarantee that they will either. That's the trick. So it's really more a matter of the culture you have and the culture you're trying to build. Because I mean, another thing is like this, we're also presuming that there's a separation of role between developer and tester in this scenario, right? When you already have hardened separate roles to the point where they're even on like separate teams or something, or reporting different managers or whatever, in that case, it's most likely the context of that organization or that team or that culture is that developers are not going to contribute to test automation anyway. It's like, well, we have the tester to do that. Why would we?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then it really doesn't matter what language the testers use for automating tests because, right, you've already set in these hard processes of different tracks.
So the answer is as often it really depends. So maybe we can conclude by that. But talking about cooperation, I have some similar topic on my list I wanted to discuss, and this is a BDD because you are also famous.
Very famous.
About
Very
that
famous.
topic. You have specific or special menu option in your website about BDD. And some people are saying that BDD is good because it supports or somehow encourage the team cooperation. So also business could contribute and it's clear what's going on there. But it often ends up with test automation team dealing with that gherkin file or feature files, as we call them sometimes. And no one else is taking care of it. So why we are using it? What's your experience or what's your opinion about that topic? Because sometimes I see the skepticism coming from the teams that okay, the theory is that we will work together on the topic, but at the end no one cares, and we need to maintain two levels: feature files and step files, or steps and features. So why we should not use some plain JavaScript and maybe page object model to do it with one layer. So
if I can put that also, that a lot of my colleagues also have this opinion that BDD is not really working. It's very good theory. You can like read the book, but in reality, it's never is working. What's the reality?
Sure. So there's multiple things to unpack here, and I know BDD there's a love-hate relationship with lots of people, right? First of all, talking about BDD as a practice or as a process, I like to think of BDD more as a set of pragmatic practices to help you be better developers and testers and ultimately better software makers, right?
Why? How? What?
Yeah. So the crux of BDD is putting focus on the behaviors that we're trying to build. That's ultimately what everything revolves around, because if you put focus on those behaviors, ultimately everything else falls in place. And why do we put the focus there? Because that's what the users care about. Users don't care that you built the system in C# or Python or JavaScript. They care that when they go to their banking app, they can log in and see their balance. They care that when they go to Amazon, they can buy their whatever Christmas gift and send it to somebody. You know, the software is meant for people. And so BDD helps you keep that people-centric focus. And it keeps you focused on the business value of what you're actually trying to build in your app versus building useless features. And the idea is that the practices around BDD, things like the question storming, the example mapping, the formulation with Gherkin, all those things are trying to make sure that we are having a good way to communicate as we plan, develop, and test these features or behaviors, that we're all on track, that we're making sure that these are valuable, that we're fleshing out these corner cases and gotchas and design problems early. And then we're also setting up a system that as we go through these practices, we're creating artifacts that can help us be more efficient in the development and testing. Namely, those artifacts being things like feature files, right? They're your proofs of purchase, they're your receipt. And it becomes very easy to use that as the spec to judge, is this thing meeting what we need? And then even to take that and make it an executable specification that is living documentation.
So I
and
see,
ultimately,
I see you are
go
a
ahead.
believer of that. So
Yes,
the
of
question is
course.
how to encourage others in a team, because without that, this won't work. That's my very maybe quick
Yep.
conclusion based on what you said. If the
Sure.
others don't contribute or don't support the idea, it won't work. So how to achieve that?
Sure. So I'll offer both a principled and a pragmatic answer. The principled answer is ultimately all the things I described, a team will need to do anyway in order to develop good behaviors, right? Good software. The good meaning it meets expectation and delivers business value, right? You can either do that in an easy way of going through these established practices and making sure you get everybody on the same page, or you can do it a more painful way of you skip those things and you throw shit out there and it breaks and then you have issues, right? The idea of BDD is you're doing it, you're kind of front loading your process and you're doing things carefully step by step. And so that the thought is that as you're doing that, it makes it better all around for you as the people building it. You have a more assured success rate, and there's going to be less issues of quality problems or of miscommunication or of inefficiencies that spring up as, oh, we have to go back and change that, right? So teams can choose. Do you want to do it the easy way or the hard way, right? People think, well, it's the easy way just to get it done quick and dirty, but it's like, no, that has consequence. It's like, before you go to bed, do you brush your teeth? Yes or no? Okay, well, let's do BDD, right? The more pragmatic approach that I take is to say, okay, coming into a team or organization and say we're tipping over the apple cart. We're all BDD now. We're going to do all these things. We're cram it down your throat, and we're going to write everything in Gherkin. That's not going to work. What I have found to be very successful is to come into the team, meet them where they're at, and then start to uncover the issues as they arise, and start to address them with practices one at a time, right? Like when I joined a previous company as a precision lender, I was their first software engineer test. I had the charter of go build test automation. And I was kind of on an island by myself for like a year, but I still built my test project in SpecFlow using Gherkin, using BDD. And you might think, well, that's stupid. Nobody else is reading it but you, Andy. Well, not yet, right? Because what I did is I was able to build my tests. I mean, it was C# under the hood, but then I was able to have that Gherkin layer, right? Given when then, arrange act assert, plain language. And when I would talk with people like trying to learn their app, it was a banking app, and I would sit there with them in pair sessions and I'd start writing given when then. They're like, Andy, what's that? It's like, oh, that's Gherkin. Well, aren't you going to have to write that in C#? Yes, but now like we're talking in human language because your feature is meant for humans. Oh, right, ding. Then later, like I bring new people onto my team because we start hiring testers. They're like, I don't know this product. How do I learn it? Go read the feature files. Oh, it's easier to read English than it is to read C#, right? Because the Gherkin is meant to carry the intention, not just the implementation, right? Fast forward even further. Like, oh, well, one of our customers wants to see our test plans. Okay, I generate living doc from our feature files. I don't have to give them the code, but they can see exactly what we're testing. Oh, right? So all these things started baking in. And with that established of, oh, this is actually a really good test project, I could start shifting left and say, hey, rather than you throwing over behavior or new features to me over the fence, why don't we like get together during planning time to kind of flush out what these are? And that's how we started doing example mapping. And we didn't do it for every single story, but we did it for enough stories that it became an established practice within the company. So and before you know it, we're doing BDD without realizing it.
Yeah, I see. So you start alone and then you encourage others to join you and work with you. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That would be for the longer discussion because what's popping up other topics is like, what about keyword driven? What about page object models? Because there might be like a lighter way of doing that more structured way. I know that there is no this. I would call it methodology, because example mapping is something like you involve business to discuss that. That's probably the efficient way to do so. But okay, maybe next time we could talk about the page object model versus BDD and what's the difference.
Oh, we could go on for at length.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had one question regarding to Playwright, and it's not really about Playwright, but I'm talking now to some people, and they complain about mobile test automation. Any short advice? What tool you would suggest to use? Just one sentence or two, and then we are done with the testing topics.
2 sentences.
Okay.
Mobile is painful.
We can move on now.
Appium.
Okay.
Yeah. We can move on. Mobile.
Okay. But that's the reality.
No, we have some options, but no like rising star like Playwright in that area. That would be nice. Maybe
not really.
We could ask you to somehow influence the Playwright guys to introduce a new feature. I know that there is experimental Android.
Well, I know that Playwright does mobile emulation of browsers, but it doesn't handle it doesn't handle native mobile app. And honestly, like I don't know if Playwright would ever try to do that, because that's not their charter, right? The Playwright team's charter is much more of make the best browser-based testing tool you possibly can, and that's what they, in my opinion, that's what they've done for our current time.
Yeah, but this is already done, so they maybe could find some new challenge and build the mobile native support.
Well, I guess one would have to ask: is it in Microsoft's interest to build a new mobile test framework? And I don't know the answer to that. Okay. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Good one. Okay, so let's conclude now.
I know everybody are waiting. That Microsoft established Copilot in Playwright as well. That
who knows? Maybe they got some up their sleeve I don't know about.
Probably but
well, no. I mean, disclaimer: I am not hired by Microsoft. I'm not paid to be a Playwright ambassador. It is a volunteer thing. I'm literally a Playwright ambassador sheerly because I love the framework. Like that is truly bonus. They're not paying me behind the scenes or anything. It is, I liked it. I talked about it. They tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Andy, you want a hoodie? We'll call you an ambassador." Sure. That's how it went down.
I see. Cool. So the conclusion or wrapping up, we have last section, which is about promotion. And I typically saying I don't have anything to promote. But hopefully you have, Andy.
Sure. So here's a laundry list. First, I'll promote my company, Cycle Labs. I love them very much. If you're listening to this and you're in the supply chain warehouse management enterprise space and you need to do testing of your business processes, come check out Cycle Labs. We like to think we're the best. I think we are the best in that space. For me personally, as I'm sure everybody knows, I'm the Automation Panda. So follow me on Twitter at now X, at Automation Panda. I blog at automationpanda.com. I don't write articles as frequently as I used to, but still every once in a while I put something out there. Also, hit me up on LinkedIn. If you just Google, you'll find a link to my LinkedIn. Regarding some of the stuff that I'm working on and where I'm going to be, I am wrapping up the 2023 season, so I'm not traveling again. Next year, I will be at Star East in Orlando, Florida in early May. I will be at Pi Texas in mid-April in Austin, Texas. I hope to be at Star West in Anaheim in October. We'll see if I can get back to Agile Testing Days in Potsdam in November. Right. And other than that, maybe I might make a few other in-person conferences appearances. We'll see. Yeah. As far as stuff I'm working on, I am still working on my book. I need to get that up and going again. So please, on Twitter, harass me, give me encouragement. Say, Andy, how's your book going? Andy, have you written the next chapter yet? That would be good. And if I can get the book done, I have some other content ideas that I would like to pursue next year. So I won't share too much about that, but just stay tuned.
Wow.
We'll see.
Wow. Okay, then Uri, do you have something to?
I don't know if I have something. Maybe I would like to say that I was like a couple of days before on really cool conference here locally in Žilina, Slovakia. It was local conference, CodeCon, but it was with global quality. That was for software engineer. I would like to say for all organizer that it was really awesome to be there in this local, in Žilina, but with really great content and speakers. It's really cool that also here in small country we are also able to organize cool and great conference. Really good.
Perfect. So with that, wow.
And Marcel, this is super cool. I have to
What
also,
actually? How
buy
to
some
do that?
MacBook.
May I? What did you do?
Yeah. So it's these. You got to get them both on the camera.
Not on my side.
Thumb to fingers.
Oh.
You're doing this. You need thumb to finger. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Uri, you need to.
And Marcel, what would you like to promote?
I'm really looking forward for the Christmas break, so that's maybe it. It's coming soon. And apart from that, we will start preparing for the next year with some new conference tour as well. And yeah, follow me as well, like Andy. I have also Twitter. I have maybe 3 followers.
Yeah. Any plans to come to the US?
I would like to, but maybe that would be more personal travels than attending
Okay.
conferences.
Me too.
Fair.
Forward probably to Miami and to visit with my wife, to have some trip via ship in the Caribbean Sea, but we will see.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, then thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. This was a fun time.
And hopefully we will get some likes and subscribers, or I don't know which direction is it, somewhere. And that's it. So enjoy the rest of the day. It's actually morning for Andy. For us, it's evening. Weekend is starting for us, but
oh, so lucky.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.